I love to read the Bible, and today I'm in Proverbs 28. Here are a few verses that stood out to me. Verse 2 says, "When a land transgresses, it has many rulers, but with men of understanding and knowledge, its stability will long continue." Verse 4 says, "Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive against them." Verse 5 says, "Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand it completely." Verse 8 says, "He who augments his wealth by interest and increase gathers it for him who is kind to the poor." Verse 11 says, "A rich man is wise in his own eyes, but a poor man who has understanding will find him out." Verse 13 and 14 says, "He who conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses them and forsakes them will obtain mercy." Verse 14 says, "Blessed is the man who fears the Lord and always, but he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity." Verse 16 says, "A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his life." Verse 18 says, "He who walks in integrity will be delivered, but he who is perverse in his ways will fall into a pit." Verse 19 says, "He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty." Verse 20 says, "A faithful man will abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished." Verse 21 says, "To show partiality is not good, but for a piece of bread a man will do wrong." Verse 23 says, He who rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue." Verse 25 says, "A greedy man stirs up strife, but he who trusts in the Lord will be enriched." Verse 26 says, "He who trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom will be delivered." And verse 27 says, "He who gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse." Why is this important? Why did this stand out? What it is for me is that it gives you an example of what you can do the world way or you can do it the God way. And I love the one that stood out to me. "He who walks in integrity will be delivered." And whatever you find yourself in, I've experienced that. When you walk with your integrity, God will come through for you. But if you're shady and cutting corners, and you're only getting back what you gave. So walk with your integrity.